welcome to Flow with Fafi. I am Fafi, and today we have a yoga for weight loss sequence. So if you're trying to lose weight or you're just watching what you eat, trying to lead a healthy lifestyle, then this yoga sequence is just right for you. So you may need a block for this sequence. It's not necessary, but it's recommended. If you don't have one, you can just use a stack of pillows, that's okay, or whatever is around the house. So grab your mat and let's flow together. So let's begin with a little bit of centering here. Meet me in a comfortable seat of your choice on your mat, cross-legged or whatever feels comfortable for you, as long as you keep the length in your spine with a straight back. You can place your thumb and your index fingers together with your palms facing up on top of your thighs. This helps with focus and concentration. And let's begin to connect with our body, bringing awareness into the breath. You can close your eyes here and just start to breathe. Taking deep inhales, long and heavy exhales. Just sinking into the present moment, forgetting the past, letting go of anything that happened so far, and just focusing on the right here, the right now, where you need to be. Just a few more breaths here, and just ask yourself, how do you feel? Perhaps set an intention for today. My intention is to lead a healthy lifestyle and feel good about my body. You can set the same intention or use your own. Please feel free. Let's start the day with an intention that will move with us throughout the day and hopefully throughout the month, throughout the year. Take your deepest breath you've ever taken and exhale from your mouth. Now gently open your eyes. Notice how you feel. Now that we are done with our centering, let's begin with our pranayama of the day, which is Surya Bedana, or single nostril breathing. This pranayama has many benefits, including elevated energy levels, removing any mucus imbalance, boosting the digestive fire, increasing body temperature, and it's just giving energy overall. And we're going to connect with our right energy channel of the body. Now, if you suffer from heart disease or high blood pressure, please skip this pranayama and do a full yogic breath instead. So for this pranayama, I'm going to mirror here. We're going to use our left hand, and with our right hand, please place your thumb and your index finger together to touch while placing your palm up on top of your thigh. So we're going to use our left hand, and we'll be using our thumb and ring finger to close our nostrils. So for this pranayama, we're going to inhale from our left nostril and exhale through our right nostril. And when we inhale and exhale, we're holding the opposite nostril. We're closing the opposite nostril. Alright, so I'm going to guide you for the first round. Okay, so let's begin. First, place your thumb on your left nostril, closing your left nostril, and inhale from your right nostril for a count of 4. Then you close your right nostril with your ring finger, and you exhale from your left nostril for a count of 6. Alright, so you inhale from here, and you exhale from here. Inhale from the right, and exhale from the left. Alright, so let's begin with the first round. So close your left nostril, inhale from your right for 2, 3, 4, close, exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last round. Inhale for 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now release your hands. Take deep breaths. Focus on your breath. And just take the deepest breaths you've ever taken. Notice how you feel. Notice your energy. Now gently open your eyes. Take one more breath here. And now let's begin our flow. Please meet me at the top of the mat. Feet hip-width apart, arms by your side. Gently bend the knee. Tuck your tailbone in and roll your shoulders back and away from your ears. Begin to connect with your body and your breath. Before we begin our classic sun salutation A to warm up our body and our breath. Inhale, bring your arms up, slightly arch your back. Exhale, drop down, stick your butt out, navel in, hands down. Inhale, lift up halfway up, hands on shins. Lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, right leg back, sink into your groin. Exhale, left leg back. Inhale for plank, shoulders over wrists, fingers spread wide, core engage, hips in line with your shoulders. Exhale, drop knees, chest, chin down. Inhale, flip your toes, elbows by your chest, lift your chest up, elbows bent, open up your heart. Exhale, tuck the toes, bend your knees, and lift your hips up and back for down dog, core engaged. Navel in, hands shoulder width apart, shoulders over wrists, feet hip width apart, upper arms externally rotated. Press into your index fingers, bend the knees if you need to, send your tailbone up and back, neck and head along the same line as the spine. Inhale, bring your right leg forward. Exhale, bring your left leg forward. Inhale, bend the knees and lift up, arms up, palms together to touch. Exhale, arms down, palms at your heart center. Now let's do the other side. Begin by placing your palms by your side. Inhale, bring your arms up, slightly arch your back. Exhale, drop down, stick your butt out, navel in, hands down. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands on your shins. Lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, bring your left leg back, sink into your groin. Inhale, bring your right leg back. Hold your plank position for one breath. Exhale, drop your knees, chest and chin down. Inhale to lift up to upward facing dog, taking your heart forward, spreading your shoulder blades back, slightly bending your elbows and softening up your heart. Exhale to lift the hips up and back for down dog. Feel free to bend the knees here if you want. Inhale to bring your left leg forward. Exhale to bring your right leg forward. Inhale, bend the knees and lift the arms up overhead, palms together to touch. And exhale, palms at your heart center. Take a moment here, now that we're warmed up, before we go into our flow. Inhale, bring your left leg back. Exhale, bend the front knee, knee over ankle. Inhale to lift your arms up parallel to the mat. Gaze forward towards your right arm, looking at the center of your palm. We're going to stay in Warrior 2 for 5 breaths. Make sure your front heel is in line with the arch of your back foot. Your back foot is parallel to the mat and really rooted to the ground. Your back leg is internally rotated. Your front leg is externally rotated. Your chest and hips are facing the side of the room. Your shoulders are above your hips. Engage your thighs and feel the energy moving up from the ground. This is the warrior pose where you feel strong and ready to accept any challenge that comes your way. On your next exhale, bring your right elbow on top of your front thigh and extend your left arm up overhead. You can also place your hand on a block, or you can place it on the ground. Pick whatever variation that suits you today and extend your arm up overhead, opening up your chest and opening up your side body. I'm gonna go with the first variation today. You can turn your gaze upwards, sideways, or on the ground, whatever feels comfortable for you today. Keep your extended leg strong and straight. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Make sure your knee isn't bent past your ankle. Ground down through the outer edge of your back foot. This pose has many benefits. It strengthens the legs, opens up the hips, stretches the spine, and lengthens the side body. Let's do our final breath here before we move on. And on your next inhale, slowly lift up back to Warrior 2 pose. Remove the block from underneath you. Shorten your stance and square your hips and shoulders to the front edge of the room by bringing your back leg at a 45-degree angle towards the right side. Inhale to bring your hands on your hips, or grasp your hands with your opposite elbows, or if it's possible for you today, to bring your palms together to touch behind your back. So choose whatever variation that suits you today. Listen to your body, whatever you can do. I'm gonna go for the palms behind my back variation. And over here, inhale to open your chest and lengthen your spine. And exhale to fold forward from your hips, keeping your back straight and gazing at your front toes. You can micro bend your knee here. If you're tight in your hamstrings, that's okay. Keep the length in your spine, keep a straight back, and just breathe into the posture. This pose is very good for stretching the hamstrings and the shoulders. It builds balance and coordination, calms the mind, and improves your posture. Let's do one more breath here before we move on to our next pose. Take a deep inhale and a long, heavy exhale. And on your next inhale, release your hands from the posture, first placing them on your hips. And on your exhale, releasing your hands down on the mat by your feet. And inhale to bring your right leg back on the mat. And exhale to bring your left leg back, lifting your hips up and back for downward facing dog. You can bend your knees here to elongate your spine. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. This pose has many benefits. It strengthens the upper body, elongates the spine, strengthens the hands, wrists, and fingers, opens up the back of the legs, improves circulation, and relieves tension and stress. Let's do one more breath here before we move on to our next pose. Take your deepest inhale and your longest heavy exhale. On your next inhale, slide your body forward and bring your legs back, and let's stay in a plank position for 5 breaths. Inhale for 1, 2, You got this. 3, 4, you're almost there, and 5. And this is where we crank up the heat. On your next exhale, bring your elbows down to the ground for a forearm plank, and we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Inhale for 1, 2, you're doing amazing, keep it up. 3, 4, one more breath, you got this, and 5. And on your next inhale, slide your feet forward and lift your hips up for dolphin pose. You can bend your knees here as much as you like to keep that length in your spine. Let's stay here for a few breaths, pressing away from the floor with your shoulders. Don't collapse into your shoulder. Let's do one more breath here. The hard part is almost over. And on your next inhale, release your feet back on the ground and lift yourself up back into a plank for one breath here. And on your next exhale, slide down into a chaturanga on the ground. Inhale to lift up to cobra. Exhale to lift up and back for down dog. Inhale, bring your right leg forward. Exhale, left leg forward. Inhale to lift up all the way, palms together to touch, and exhale, palms at your heart's center. Take a breath here, take a moment before we move on towards the other side. Let's do one more breath here. Let's flow on the other side. Inhale, bring your right leg back. Exhale, bend your front knee, knee over ankle. Inhale to lift your arms up parallel to the mat. Gaze forward towards your left fingertips, and let's stay here in Warrior 2 for 5 breaths. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. On the next inhale, let's go for the side angle pose, taking the same variation you did on the other side. I'm going to place my left elbow on top of my front thigh and extend my right arm up overhead, gazing up, sideways, or down, whatever feels comfortable for you today. Let's stay here for 5 breaths. 1. Make sure your knee isn't moving past your ankle. 2. Ground down through the outer edge of your back foot. 3. Take up space and feel that energy expand inwards. 4. You're doing awesome. We have one more breath here. And 5. And on your next inhale, lift back up to Warrior 2, and let's move on to our next pose, the pyramid pose, also known as Parsvottanasana. Now begin by shortening your stance and squaring your hips by extending your left leg outwards at a 45-degree angle with your front foot facing forward, fully extended. Begin by lengthening your spine, and on your exhale, fold forward, taking the same variation you did on the other side with your hands. Press into all 4 corners of your feet to create stability and to move that energy from the ground all the way up to the crown of your head. Keep a soft bend in your knees, don't lock them out. With every breath, try to let go into your body, go deeper into that stretch, and try to let go of any other moment that comes into your mind, whether it's in the past or the future, and just sink into the present moment, bringing awareness into your whole body and noticing how you feel from the base all the way to the crown of your head. On your next inhale, release your hands down on the mat Exhale to bring your left leg back on the mat. Inhale to bring your right leg back. And let's go back into a downward facing dog. Let's stay here for a few breaths, stretching the whole body, pressing into all fingertips on the mat, and pressing our heels down on the ground as much as we can. You can bend your knees here if you need to, and just relax into this pose. Micro bend your elbows and keep your neck and head in line with your spine. Let's stay here for one more breath, taking a deep inhale and a long and heavy exhale. Now let's get ready to fire up our core. Inhale to bend your knees and exhale to slide forward back into a plank, keeping your hips in line with your shoulders, trying not to sink your hips low or raise them up too high, keeping them in line with your shoulders. And breathing here, breathe into the discomfort. You are stronger than you think. You got this. You're doing amazing. Keep it up. You are up to the challenge. You got this. Now if it gets too tough, you can just bend your knees and place them on the mat. That's okay. You're getting stronger with every breath. Let's keep that fire going. Now bring your elbows down onto the mat for an elbow plank. You got this. You're doing an amazing job. Make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Your hips aren't too high or sinking low. They're in line with your shoulders. Notice how your mind is thinking here. This is a challenging pose. Try to approach it with a positive and can-do attitude. If you can do this on the mat, you can transfer this energy and mindset outside of the mat during your daily activities, your work life, your relationships. Let's level up this challenge by moving our feet closer to our torso and going into a dolphin pose. Now make sure you really elongate your spine here. If you need to bend your knees, that's okay. You can interlace your fingers together for a more comfortable position and gaze at your thumbs to keep your head and neck steady. On your next inhale, bring your legs back on the mat. Place your hands down on the mat and inhale to lift yourself up to plank. On your next exhale, bring yourself down on the ground and take a breath here before we move on to the next pose, which is a back bending pose, the bow pose. Make sure your feet are hip width apart, and on your next inhale, bend your knees and lift your feet off the mat with your toes facing the ceiling. Place your hands by your chest, and on your next inhale, reach back with your hands to grasp the outside of your ankles. On your next inhale, lift your chest up off the mat while keeping your thighs on the ground. Push your shins back towards the back edge of the room as you open up your chest. Roll your shoulders back and again to externally rotate your shoulders. Keep your knees hip width apart and focus on your breath. Try not to hold your breath. Really ease into this pose, into the discomfort. And on your next exhale, release back down on the ground and place your hands forward in front of you, making a pillow with your hands and placing your head on top. And now let's counter pose, release any tension in our back by bending our knees and bringing them from side to side, lowering them as windshield wipers from side to side, and just releasing any tension that might have built up in our lower back, and just breathing here into the lower back. You did a great job. And now release your legs and let's lift up and back for our child's pose. Bring your knees together and sit back on your heels. Extend your arms forward and just release yourself down on the mat, releasing any tension that might have built up. Breathing into your back, relaxing, taking a few moments before we move on into our next part of the class with the seated postures, where we begin to unwind and relax our body and just stretch it out. You did amazing. You did a great job. The hard part is over. And now we have the last part of the class where we start to just relax and breathe into our body. And on your next inhale, slowly start to lift up. And let's go into a tabletop position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And let's go for a few rounds of cat and cow. Inhale to arch your back and gaze forward, open your chest. And exhale to round your spine, chin to chest. Inhale to arch your back. And exhale to round your spine, bringing your chin to your chest. Let's do one last round. Inhale to arch your back, gaze forward. And exhale to round your spine. Let's go back to neutral. Lower your hips down and slide your legs to any side and then extend them forward in front of you. And let's begin our seated positions. I'm going to change positions so you can get a better view, so you can see the posture better. Inhale, bend your right knee and bring it towards your chest. Make sure there's a fist bump size between your inner thighs and your foot. Bring your right hand behind your back. Inhale to lift your left arm up, extend your spine, and exhale to twist towards your right side, bringing your elbow outside of your knee. Gaze backwards behind your shoulders or wherever is comfortable for you today. Let's stay here for 5 breaths. If it's difficult for you with the elbow, then you can just hold on to your knee with your hand. Listen to your body and do whatever feels comfortable for you. We don't want any pain today. We just want to feel that nice, juicy twist to release any tension in our spine. And on your next inhale, slowly release from the pose and extend your right leg forward, and let's go for the other side. Inhale to bend your left leg and bring it towards you, making sure there's a space between your foot and inner thigh. Bring your left hand behind you and inhale to lift your right arm up, extending your spine, and exhale to bring it on the outside of your knee. This pose has many benefits. It gives a deep stretch for the back, ribs, and shoulders. It activates the 3 lower chakras to cultivate a sense of security, stability, and self-confidence. It even massages your internal organs. How awesome is that? Final breath here. Slowly release yourself from the pose. And let's go for our next pose, extending your legs out wide to the sides. Preparing for our Upavishta Konasana. Begin by internally rotating your inner thighs and then extending your heart up and forward, extending your spine. Inhale here and exhale to slowly bend forward, placing your hands forward in front of you, keeping that length in the spine. We don't want to round our back here. Now, if it's possible for you, reach for the outer edge of your foot with your hands and extend your heart forward, keeping that length in your spine, and fold forward here. Now, if you're not very flexible in the hamstrings, most of you will be up there with your hands reaching forward. If you can't reach for your toes, that's okay. We don't want to round our backs here. We just want that length in our spine. Let's do one more breath here. Connect with your inner calm to create that peace in your mind. And exhale here. And on your next inhale, slowly lift up, extending your spine, and slowly start to lift yourself back up into a seat, extending your legs forward, and meet me on the mat, lying on your back for our next pose, the bridge pose. This is our final pose before we go into shavasana. Bend your knees and bring your heels as close as you can to your buttocks, making sure your feet are hip-width apart. Extend your arms by your hips, keeping your palms facing down, and on your next inhale, slowly start to peel your hips off the mat, lifting your hips off the ground as much as you can, making sure you keep your knees in line with your hips. If it's possible for you, interlace your fingertips here on the mat. Don't do this pose if you have any neck pain or any injury. And if you have any back pain, you can place a block underneath your sacrum for support, resting your weight on the block. If your knees are extending outwards, make sure you keep your knees a hip-width apart. This pose is great. It helps with your posture and it counteracts the effects of sitting on the computer for a long period of time or just sitting in general. And on your next exhale, let's slowly release back on the ground by bringing your hips down on the mat and extending your legs out towards the sides, wider than your hips, extending your arms out to the side, palms facing up here for our final pose, shavasana. Gently close your eyes and begin to connect with your breath. Make sure you're comfortable in your clothes. Maybe wear your socks or jacket, or grab a blanket if you get cold, and a pillow for support. Shavasana is a technique to relax our mind and our body and truly feel the benefits of our practice. So please try not to skip this step, even if you just rest for a few moments before you go on with the rest of your day or evening. Relax your shoulders and keep them away from the ears. Take a few deep breaths. Maybe exhale out through the mouth a couple of times. Bring your awareness to your breath and notice how it is flowing. Notice how your belly is moving up with every inhale and moving down with every exhale. With every inhale, feel your body expand and accept. And with every exhale, feel your body get lighter on the mat. Allow your thoughts to get quieter in the mind. Awaken your senses and notice where you are and how you feel. Scan your whole body, and with every exhale, let go of any tightness in your muscles. Release the weight of your body onto the mat, relaxing your whole body from your feet all the way to the crown of your head. Allow yourself to trust that you're in the right place at the right time. And in this moment, you're in a safe place where nothing can affect you. Let go completely onto your mat, allowing yourself to be fully present in this moment. With every exhale, soften a little bit more down into the earth, letting go completely to gravity. Feel your body at ease and connected to everything around it, allowing yourself to be just as you are. Notice your breath flowing in and out, and welcome its embrace. Remain in this state for a few breaths, allowing your body to feel the effects and the benefits of Shavasana. Very lightly start to come back into the space, back to your breath. Observe how you feel. Notice feelings of peace and stillness within. Begin to introduce small movements into your body by wiggling your fingertips, wiggling your toes. Perhaps move your neck from side to side or stretch your arms upwards, waking up your body. Whenever you're ready, hug your knees, roll on to any side, make a pillow with your arms under your head. And lift yourself up onto a seat, taking a comfortable seat, keeping your eyes closed. Take a moment here to thank your body for your practice. Thank you for practicing with me. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or evening. Namaste.